This is a pretty strong down move. We're right at the 9 o'clock hour, 12 o'clock East Coast. Not a massive amount of red delta, but it's there. They're wicking already though. It's already got a wick here. We'll see. There's some good orders below here. This 90 block, 50, 60. They still got the big one up here at 900, 347 orders. So let's see if they take it lower again or if they're going to go ahead and go up. So far I'm liking the wick. Pretty good buy up again. Every time the sellers try to come in, the buyers keep bouncing it right away. We keep getting these V-bottom wicks. Yeah, if the sellers can't get that lower low and the buyers step up again, might be a long. There's some orders down there. Nothing big, but could be pushing lower. It was a strong move down. It was pretty quick on the way down. get any more reaction back up. This might be the lower. This might be sellers taking it lower. We'll see here. Buyers didn't really get much to go on there. So if the sellers can make that lower low, we may still be in a downtrend tonight. But if buyers defend this low and we don't make that lower low, we could pop right back up to that 860 VWAP, 870 value area high. Yeah, they're about to break that previous low on the 5-minute there on that other candle. This 832.50 coincides with this candle right here, the previous big up candle. This wick stopped right at it, perfect. And let's see if this guy wants to break that, or if it's gonna hold. Will the buyers defend here? Looks like they might be trying to defend. It's not very convincing. On these previous lows, it was pretty convincing rejections. We had this wick, we had this V bottom, boom. This one candle of, not a strong up candle here, but then the very next candle, bam, strong candle. So we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 straight downed candles. So far it's holding. Not convincing hold though. Buyers are barely able to get it up a couple of points, and then sellers are pulling it back down. So yeah, this is looking like the inverse of earlier when buyers kept stepping in. Now we got sellers are more keeping it from going anywhere. They tried to pop it up a little bit, nope. Sellers instantly. They tried to pop it up, no. Sellers instantly took it. They tried to pop it up, nope. Sellers, just you're seeing these instant. And there's a decent move down right there. Yeah. This is exact opposite of what was happening earlier. Buyers kept stepping in. So they're trying again. They might defend that low. We got another 23, 75. We got about 5 points below. If they can break that 5 points and make that new low, we might be in for a downtrend. So yeah, I think Europe's open now. I can't remember with the time change. I can't remember exactly what time Europe opens now. We had our fall back. We set our clock back a little while ago. A few weeks back. Yeah, there's a nice buy up there. They defended that low. That one is so this was back straight up again on some pretty strong, decent volume. We got a decent, this is a volume bar on the bookmap volume, sell volume, sell volume. Here is buyer's volume. This is a delta chart. This is the cumulative delta. It says negative 1600 over here, and it says negative 1600 over here. So you see it's pretty close. It's not exact. It's not an exact science, I don't think. That delta. buyers couldn't get it anywhere again. They had a nice instant up. It looked strong, but they couldn't get it anywhere. It's already coming back down. The heat below actually looks stronger now. They got more orders below, going down to that 820s. Looking like it wants to break the low, maybe. From 20 to 25, they've kind of got a batch of orders in there. It's nothing real big though. 60, 60, 70. And then further down at the 800, there's a, I think that's 94 or so. 90, what is that? 95. It's hard to read. My eyes are getting bad. 95, I think, down there at 800, 25, 800. So, yeah, this might be the flush down. Buyers are not really stepping up. Yeah, they keep trying to push it up a little bit, but the orders are really stacking up below now. They've got more orders below than they do above now. So we're seeing these 70s, 60s, 80s, 90s. Nothing real strong up here. You got a 57. So it's looking stronger to the downside now. Especially since we couldn't really get going over VWAP. If we can break that lower low, so that was my wife's computer over there. If you heard that order fill, she had the limit order for 2 micros on the MNQ here at the break of the low. She sometimes likes to take those reversal plays. I don't really do those. I've warned her about these. I don't really like to do this, but some people make money off of this. I think it's more of a scalping strategy than like she does it overnight. She'll sit on that all night. She'll wait for that all night to play out. But yeah, I don't really like doing that. She's gotten pretty lucky with it sometimes, but she's also lost quite a bit with it. I don't think she has a very good win rate with that kind of trade. But yeah, it is a fairly common thing to see, like we're seeing right now, where they break the low and then they immediately come back in the range, pop it back in the range. It's pretty common, but like I said, to me this would be like a scalp. If I had done what she done, if I had entered long down here, I'd be looking to exit probably right around in this stuff in here, getting back to this value area low. I wouldn't be looking to like try to take this all the way back up or anything. Now that they broke this low, for me, I'm bearish for the evening here, unless we can come back up and break this high up here again and start pushing this value area high again. If it comes back up to this VWAP again and reverses, I'd be looking for the short off the VWAP if it comes back up here again. So the orders are still looking stronger below. We've got this 800 is now built up to 107. At the 25,800 was 90. It was 90 something a few minutes ago. Now it's up to 107. So we've built up more orders down below. I think this thing is heading down to fill this stuff here. Buyers just could not defend there. The ES still hasn't broken the Friday low, so that may be a sign that we're going to bounce, even though NQ is breaking the lower low here, trending down, lower high, lower lows. ES has made lower lows, ES has made lower highs for sure, but ES has not broken that Friday low, so it might be that buyers start defending again. just broke the low again. Yeah, buyers kind of stepping up there again, but the heat is below. The orders are below on the book map. If I say the heat is below, it's because I'm seeing these colors. Sometimes they'll refer to these colors here as the, I think they say the heat map is what they say. So I got into the habit sometimes of talking about it as heat. The heat is below. These orders here, though, are still, you can see the numerical values of the orders. 120 at the 800 is still getting bigger. That's one that was 90 something a little while ago. 800 is now at 120 something orders, so it does look like it's going lower down there. there's orders. This 65 up here. This 65 orders up here at 37 or whatever it is. You can see the big red line there on the orders. If they get that, that might be a decent entry on a short actually. If it holds that, if it pops up there and hits that and starts to reject back down again. I think we're headed for this 800. So we're getting that push back up that I was looking for. So I'm still going to be patient and wait and see, can they get it back up to the, we're at the value area low that I was talking about. The EMA is actually down there now too. Can they get it back up to like that 840 level? We got this wick right here, this 845. We got this over here, this wick, top wick here, 842. So this could be a key area in here. Are they going to hold this here, just reject? We do have some more orders above now than we did before. We got the 60, 58, so a little bit more coming in there. We still got the 120 down there at the 800. gonna go ahead and try the short here to see if we get the breakdown for 800.
Submitted.
I usually enter with the limit order on the sell ask. If I were going long,
Filled.
buy bid to put in a limit order. Especially in after hours, I don't like using market orders after hours because the spread can get pretty bad sometimes. It's not that bad right now, it's just a couple ticks right now, but sometimes you'll see 2, 3, 4 point spreads. I've seen some ridiculous spreads, especially in after hours. It can get really big sometimes. So if you just mark it in instead of 34, sometimes you can mark it in buy long and think you're going to get 34 and you get filled up here with the ask that's at 36 or 37. It can be huge on the M&Q. So yeah, I usually try to enter with limit orders, and then depending on how I'm exiting, a lot of times I just exit with a close. I usually exit with a market order. I usually don't care on the exit. Depends on conditions though. If the conditions are there, I might use limit orders, but I usually, if I'm closing it, I usually like to just close it with the close button.
Submitted. Filled.
So my wife is long over there from 8:23, and I am short from 8:31. And again, folks, not financial advice. You're not supposed to copy other people's trades. Learn about trading for yourself and educate yourself and understand the risks. I looked at the actual CME website. The CME website is very useful for trading futures like we do. The CME website has all kinds of resources on it about education, and the Fed Watch tool is on there. You can check the probabilities on the Fed rate announcements. There's the Commitment of Traders report, the COT report, that you can download from there. If you know how to break that down and dissect that, some guys use that COT report to see the positioning and get an idea of where people are putting their money, basically. If you've never heard of Jason Shapiro, he's an old school guy that I like to listen to on YouTube. He's a tell it like it is, no nonsense kind of guy, and he's old school. And yeah, you'll learn a lot from these guys if you listen to some of these young YouTuber kind of guys that are flashy and showing off and stuff. You might get misled a little bit, but guys like Jason, they really tell it like it is. They're not trying to impress nobody or nothing. They're just telling it like it is. I like Jason Shapiro. I like Garrett Soloway, Verified Investing. Garrett Soloway does good recap stuff and technical analysis stuff. He's good. Brian Shannon with the anchored VWAP stuff. Brian Shannon is good. Peter Resnicek with that shadow trader. He's good. A lot of these old school guys are good. So don't pick who you listen to about trading. Don't pick it based on the kind of cars and watches and stuff that they talk about. I think I've talked about before that I do watch Patrick Whelan. Although I disagree with all his flashiness and all his arrogant bravado, I I do know that a lot of it is an act, and if you've watched him long enough and you saw him back in the day, you saw his evolution, and you know that the dude knows how to play up to YouTube. He's no dummy. He plays up to YouTube. So Patrick's he's kind of in a different category to me. He's kind of a guy that seems to know how to work the system, and I do think he legitimately likes to show off. I don't think that's fake. I think he legitimately likes to show off, but the dude knows trading, you know. So whatever, how much of his act is an act and how much of it is real, I don't really care. All I know is Patrick's pretty good at trading, and I have learned a bit from watching him. And actually, when I first started watching him a few years ago, I remember feeling like back before he was trading for prop firms, I was feeling like I traded very similar to Pat. I get emotional, he gets emotional too, and start revenge trading and stuff like that. I saw him do that back. He was trading his own money back then, and he would revenge trade even back then too. And I just related to him, and I've respected Patrick for a long time as a trader, even though I disagree with a lot of his personal views and his political views and stuff like that. I still respect him as a trader, and I've still learned a lot from him. And I like his new guy, D-Money, too. I feel like D-Money is another good, solid guy for telling it like it is, you know. So, you can learn from folks on YouTube and stuff like that, but you got to be careful who you listen to, and you still got to think for yourself. I never follow these guys. I never follow Patrick or D-Money or any of these guys. I never follow their trades. A lot of times I'm doing trades before they're even taking trades. I'm already in trades before they're taking trades. So yeah, I tried back in the beginning. I tried to kind of follow and copy people, and I realized right away, no, that doesn't work. You got to just learn how to trade. So don't copy me. Don't copy anybody else. Just learn about how to trade. Figure it out for yourself, and find your own way. Everybody finds their own kind of way that they like to trade. There's no one right way to trade at all. But we do have to learn to respect our risk and our sizing. That's one of the big lessons that I've had to learn over these last few years, is the respect for the sizing, the respect for the risk. Not getting too carried away with the sizing is very important. Just because somebody says you can trade 10 minis or 100 micros doesn't mean you should. I thought we might see a quick push down at the 10 o'clock there, but it didn't really play out. Just kind of broke the low, but it bounced kind of back up again. We're sitting on a pivot point there. That's the S1 that you see. Standard deviation 1 pivot point. PB is the pivot point. This is based off of yesterday, or Friday, I should say. This is based off of Friday. And these are standard deviations. The standard deviation 2 for the based off of the pivot point. So we might get a bounce off. This is already a pretty good move down distance wise compared to how we've been doing. So there could be a reaction, and we could get a nice bounce back up. So I'm not totally convinced on this short here for sure, and I'm short from a pretty low point on the overall day. So this is definitely one of those times where I'll probably just lock in some profit. If it looks like it's going to get back up here above this 25 again, I'll probably just lock in some profit and wait and see if I can get a re-entry. I'm not real interested in a choppy, bounce it back up here, take a bunch of drawdown and everything. I'm not interested. Yeah, and it's already doing that. I'm just going to go ahead. We'll go about right there. Should be good. It's a few points. It's a few dollars. Don't really care. Just don't want to take an unnecessary loss. This was not a great entry point, obviously. Getting short down near the bottom is never a good entry. I was more looking for a nice 10 o'clock, things really start to flush down quickly. I was hoping there'd be some momentum picking up. There is still the heat that's over there. I'll bring book map over again. The orders are still down there. We still got 100 down here at 810. We got this dialed up to 127 at the 800. So I do think we're headed to the 800. But it could be later tonight or in the morning before they get down there. It might just bounce from here. But yeah, those couple big orders have been hanging out down there for a while. I think it's going to be like a magnet eventually. So if we get stopped out here, it might re-enter if it wants to go back up there to that same kind of 30, 35 level again and turn back around, or maybe it gets back up there to that 40 and turns around. I'll just re-enter. Yeah, this is just an eval. I usually don't care too much about trading evals overnight. I'm usually holding off on the PAs overnight. I don't like trading PAs overnight, but evals I'm usually a little more aggressive and try and get them done in that like 3 to 4 days, especially when the sale is on and you're going to get the cheap activation fee. You got motivation to get it done before the deadline and get that cheap activation fee. So I don't want to be too aggressive, but I don't want to be too passive. So I'll go ahead and trade some overnight action to just try to have a little more opportunity to pass the eval before the deadline is up. So, but yeah, these overnights are usually real slow and boring. It's usually not much to see or do. Yeah, we're gonna get stopped out here, a little $20 winner. Below still looks good though. Probably just gonna re-enter. See how high they pop it back up. If they do. But yeah, back in the past couple of years, I would have been more stubborn about, let me just hold. If this goes negative, let me just hold and see if it'll come back. When I had this kind of bad shorting near the bottom or long up near the top, I'd try to be too patient on those back in the past couple of years. But this year I've done better about, nope, just lock it in. If you take a bad entry, just lock it in. Now, if I had gotten long here, like my wife, if I'd gotten long at these lows, I'd be willing to set the stop down there with the 100 points as my standard kind of stop. Risk about $400, and just take your chances. Be patient a bit, but no, if I get a short off the bottom, off the low area. I'm not looking to be too patient or greedy. I'm gonna lock in profit on a green trade like that. I don't like to let these go red. So yeah, we're getting stopped out there for whatever, $20 or whatever it is, and might want to re-enter if the push-up fails again. But yeah, if they keep pushing up, then I don't want to be in that drawdown.
Upfilled.
Little winner there on the eval. Yeah, so right back up again. Still technically a downtrend, but just not very strong. The still hasn't broken the Friday low. NQ has made lower lows, but they just keep bouncing pretty quickly. They get down there and bounce pretty quickly. So, not too convinced on sellers yet either. Still got the big 359 orders up at 25,900. So maybe that's not till tomorrow morning. But yeah, I'm not feeling too sure about this downtrend, even though we're getting the negative delta. We've got the lower highs and lower lows. The ES is kind of throwing a monkey wrench in the downtrend picture for me. ES is not a very strong down picture. We keep doing these rotational markets where everybody rotates out of tech and they rotate over into the safer stuff, the energy or the whatever, the utilities or whatever. But then they come right back to tech. So it's this tech is more bearish than ES because the ES isn't so heavy with tech, or it's vice versa, and NQ is leading the way up because everybody's rotating back into the tech stocks, and ES will then lag going back up. So yeah, these rotations in and out of tech have been pretty frustrating for the NASDAQ players. Pretty big swings. We're not having any big swings tonight, but it's just that mixed picture of NQ being a little bit more bearish than the ES, and the volume being kind of low. Not real bad though. It's halfway decent for a holiday, I would say. Let's see if the buyers can get any kind of strength here to get it back up again over the EMA. So far we've been rejecting off the EMA. It looks very bearish, but the buy-ups are a little too strong for my liking. I'm not really liking that the moves down are pretty good, but then the buy-ups are also still pretty good and pretty quick. So just want to try to be patient for this. I'm just going to take another break and probably hit this again in the morning.